Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick video just on the impact that the recent full moon in Aquarius has had and the amount of intensity that has been in the airwaves and the amount of stuff that has actually been going on in the world on the build up and on the day and on the couple of days after. So we're going to go through some of the situations that have occurred, and we'll look at the astrological symbolism to show you where the transits and stuff have affected different situations. Now, what we have experienced here is political upheaval. Now, I live in Northern Ireland, obviously, so there's issues going on there in Northern Ireland, and there's other issues going on in the rest of the world as well. But we're going to look at the impact that this full moon has had there. So in Northern Ireland here, where there has been political upheaval, in the outer world, we've had freak disasters. Now, we've also have the discovery of bombs. We've carried out controlled explosions. There's still been ongoing violence. We've had a visit from the Prime Minister, Kier Starmer, the announcement of the new transport hub opening, Grand Central Station. And we've also had earthquakes, volcanoes, and wildfires. So this is the chart of the full moon in Aquarius. And just to recap, the main themes going on here on the day of the 19th of August, which was Monday, we've had Sun opposite Moon, square Uranus, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So this was a very efficient full moon in terms of how things happen so easily and so suddenly and shocking, with surprises and unexpected events. The other theme going on with the full moon was the T-square for Venus opposing Saturn, and creating a T-square with the Mars and Jupiter energy here in Gemini as well. So let's look at how it played out. So in Northern Ireland, we've had Doug Beattie resigned. He's the leader of the UUP, the Ulster Unionist Party, and he resigned due to irreconcilable differences between him and the party officers. So that was something he felt could not be overcome. So he got out. So we're going to look at his chart. We're also going to look at what happened during the controlled explosion. They'll have a chart for that. So there's some interesting astrology going on there. The racially influenced violence is continuing. It's still going on. People are still picking on people who, are from a foreign country, have different cultures than we do, and they're being targeted because of race. It's still going on. Their businesses are being destroyed and things like that. So that's still continuing. That was continuing before this, but on the build up, it's still continuing on. The transport hub opening, they've announced that for the 8th of September at 5 a.m. will be the first service going out. And this hub was first priced at £200 million and is now well over budget, massively over budget at £340 million. Issues going on there. The chart, this will still be, I think it will still be in its shadow whenever this opens, or about to go retrograde, but that's something I can look at later. We've also had the Kier Starmer visit in support of the PSNI, so we'll look at a couple of charts there. And the industrial action is still continuing. This has been going on all year, towards the end of last year and continuing into this. And we have more industrial action now, which is a real Aquarian, Uranian type of thing. And how it affects the chart of Northern Ireland as well. It's because of the Uranus placement. Uranus is currently transiting Mars on the Northern Ireland chart. And then we've had in terms of climate and protecting the Earth, it's getting worse. We've had the blue-green algae discovered now on the north coast. So that's a Saturn in Pisces thing, and also to do with climate change, Uranus and Taurus, and all this stuff connected to how we look at the Earth, how we deal with the Earth, how we use the Earth, and are we giving it enough respect? Because it's pollutants and chemicals and things like that which are causing all this. So in terms of world news, we have also had the Bayesian super yacht sinking due to freak weather conditions. So we're going to look at a couple of charts related to that. We've had the Russian earthquake, volcano, and the wildfires in Madeira are still going on. So we're going to look at the energies in the world map and see where they actually fall in relation to these areas. So Doug Beattie, the Northern Ireland politician, he gave irreconcilable differences as the reason for his decision to leave. His resignation came as a shock. That was from Mike Nesbitt, a former leader, did not see this coming at all. And other unionists within the party have described him as inclusive. So he still valued unionism, but he wanted to include everyone in his vision. So that's part of the reason probably is why the party officers did not agree with him, because they would have been more traditional in the unionist view, whereas it's all unionist or it's nothing. So the party officers are described by a different UUP politician and councillor as not forward-thinking enough to understand Doug Beattie's vision. So he got out. So let's look at Doug Beattie's chart. Now, we don't have the actual time of his birth, but as we can see here, for a time of birth, for the chart created for 12 o'clock midday, he has the sun here, he has the moon in Taurus, and it's impacted by the full moon because it's in square aspect to that. And the planet Uranus is also very, very close. So his moon is how he feels. Uranus is all about breaking away, breaking away from the structures that you currently find yourself in, the situation you find yourself in, breaking away and creating some kind of freedom. So the intensity of this full moon energy, he just thought, look, there's nothing more I can do here. I'm not being supported from my party. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm going my own way. So Doug also has a Uranus-Pluto conjunction. He was born under this conjunction in 1965. This conjunction is all about moving forward, reinventing and transforming as you move forward. Now, he also has an opposition here to Saturn, and he's recently had his Saturn return as well, because Saturn is retrograding through Pisces. And with the Sun and Mercury conjunct that particular day, Mercury was actually in retrograde. The Sun in Leo represents leadership. So this is about him reviewing his leadership role within this particular party. And he has decided, no, I've reviewed it. I have decided it's not for me. I'm moving forward and I will take my vision elsewhere. So we'll probably see Doug Beattie again, but in a very different role. Maybe he'll become an independent politician, or maybe he'll decide to go a different way. But whatever, he is a unionist with a different vision, and unionism has trouble accepting that vision, understanding that vision. So that has created a T-square formation there with the transiting Saturn as well, and the square to Mars and Jupiter with the Venus, the transiting T-square impacting his Uranus-Pluto conjunction directly. So that's a double whammy for Doug, okay? The major themes on that particular full moon, they've all impacted his chart. So we have also had a visit from Kier Starmer, the UK Prime Minister in support of the PSNI. Now, the inside wheel here is the PSNI's chart. That's the date of creation for the PSNI, where it started off, its initiation. And the outer wheel is Kier Starmer's chart. And what you'll see here, they have Venus in the same sign, almost exactly the same degree, but they're still so close. There's only about 1 degree separating them, maybe even less than a degree separating them here. But what this means is they share the same vision. Now, Kier Starmer, now their Venus placement as well is in Libra. It's home sign. It's Venus's home sign. Libra is to do with the relationships. Venus is the ruler of that realm. So this is a blessing. It's a strong placement for Venus to be in. And it's all about balance. You know, set balance in relationships. So it's about, you know, fairness and equality. So it's quite interesting that the PSNI and Kier Starmer share this vision going forward. So peace, harmony, that's the theme. Interesting that Kier Starmer was actually a human rights advisor to the Northern Ireland Policing Board whenever the PSNI was being formed. And after he had finished this work, he cited this work as a key influence in him taking up a position or entering into politics. He obviously thought he had lots to give. So his Kier Starmer's Saturn placement is also on the Mars and Neptune placement of the PSNI chart. So this is about the vision. This Mars and Neptune here is about the vision and driving forward to create that vision and establish this vision. And what we have here is a new vision as well, because it's in Aquarius. And we have Kier Starmer here with his Saturn in Aquarius right on top of this and saying, I will bring stability. I will provide the structures for you going forward. Hence his visit. So he obviously feels a strong connection to the PSNI. So that's very significant. The Sun there in Scorpio on the PSNI chart, and Kier Starmer's Neptune, very close together there, conjunction. So it's about the vision. Kier Starmer's vision of oneness is supported by the PSNI. So very strong connections here with this. So there's no doubt Kier Starmer will play as such more structured, influencing role in Northern Ireland's future. So let's look at the inner wheel in this chart, which is the chart for the Northern Ireland partition, which is the chart we use for Northern Ireland. And Kier Starmer's birth chart is on the outer wheel. So let's see how he connects up with the vision of Northern Ireland. So Kier Starmer has his Sun Pluto conjunction up here, which is a very strong, powerful connection in the birth chart, very strong aspect configuration. It's a very transforming and powerful placement. And what we have here is in a conjunction with the Jupiter. We also have Kier Starmer's Venus on the midheaven for Northern Ireland. We have Kier Starmer's Mars here conjunct Pluto. We have his Jupiter placement on a conjunction with Northern Ireland Uranus Moon. So all this together, this is about him influencing, the transformation and the reinvention and the future vision of Northern Ireland going forward. So to say he is a key influential figure in Northern Ireland politics is an understatement. This man has got a big role to play here. Hence his visit to support the PSNI on the full moon. So World War II bomb had been found in Newton Ards. A controlled explosion was carried out. 400 homes were evacuated. So there was damage to solar panels, some property damage as well, roof tiles, windows, that kind of thing. But if we draw up a chart for the actual time the controlled explosion was taking part, what time it was detonated, it was 2 days ago, 15:38 in the afternoon. What we find here is the asteroid Juno right on the midheaven. Now, my friend Lianne McCafferty, also a tutor for the Mayo School of Astrology, astrologer, and she's actually in the middle of writing a book. So I fired her off. She's actually an expert in Juno, so asteroid Juno. So I asked her for some info in regard to this and what her thoughts were regarding this. And she said, yeah, Juno is like a benefic energy, a benefic asteroid who protects us from danger. So she's acting up here on the midheaven. She's the highest point of the sky whenever this detonation was taking place. So she's acting here as a protector of the people. And she has alerted the army and instructed the army meticulously to set up strict rules and boundaries for the protection of the people, their homes, and their whole areas. So thanks, Lianne, for providing that information. And I'll look forward to reading your book whenever it comes out later in the year. So interesting that Juno was watching over that particular event in a controlled explosion from World War II. So this is all Aquarius stuff, Aquarius and Uranus stuff, discoveries, especially under the ground. Because a Pluto and Aquarius thing as well, because we're uncovering things that have been hidden under the surface. So let's turn our attention to the Bayesian super yacht sinking. Weather. This was freak weather causing weather sprouts, tornadoes at sea. This is Uranus and Taurus, freak weather conditions and stuff like this. So it caused the mast to snap, creating instability in the vessel and lots of other issues. Apparently, the boat should have been moored in a harbor because of the weather warning, and some of the hatches were opening, causing fast flooding. And there was supposed to be 2 crew members watching, 24 hours, taking turns at watching for, during the storm. So we're not, I think there's still stuff investigating going on in regard to all of this. Now, the super yacht was actually built and supplied in 2008. No, I can't find a date for the actual launch, but it was launched under a different name as well. And this could be a Mercury retrograde kind of thing, because it's now known as a different name. It's now known as the Bayesian. I do know that Saturn was in Virgo in this particular year, and Saturn is now transiting in Pisces, so there's an opposition effect. Plus, Saturn is also retrograde as well in Pisces, the sign of the ocean and the sea. The owner, Mike Lynch, has been found and still one missing body. And the name Bayesian was based on the Bayesian theory. That this is what Mike Lynch's PhD, all his life studies was all about on this particular theorem. And the software that he created for his company was created on this theory as well. So it's based on the model. This is a very simple way of explaining it, that statistical outcomes and predictions can change based on the introduction of new information and new evidence, therefore altering a future outcome. And that's what his particular software was based on. When he sold the company to HP, Hewlett Packard, he was accused of fraud. It was billions, I think it was £6 or £8 billion sale or dollar sale. So huge business transaction there. And he won a recent court case in the States because he was accused of fraud on that particular deal, but he proved his innocence. And strangely, his co-defendant in the case, was killed in a traffic accident in Cambridge in the UK on the same day that this freak accident occurred. So I do have a chart for Mike Lynch, but I don't have an exact birth time. But what I do know is that Saturn was retrograde right on his personal Saturn. So he was having a Saturn return, and it was also retrograde. Saturn in Pisces, representing Saturn is structure, Pisces is the sea, so structure in the sea. And it was activating this aspect in his chart here. He has Uranus opposite Pluto, similar to what Doug Beattie has as well, but he was born, weren't born that close together, but still a strong conjunction there with those two planets, quite significant. So, yeah, it's possible his ascendant or midheaven, was also activated by the full moon and the transiting Uranus, but without an exact birth time, we can't tell that for sure. But the T-square was certainly activated here with the Venus, Saturn, and the Mars and Jupiter conjunction up in Gemini. So in terms of where this energy appeared in the world, this energy appeared in the actual map of the world. Here's the map for Sicily. This was the area the freak accident occurred. And we have the line, we have the Mars line, Mars on an angle going straight through that. So that's Mars on the IC line there on an angle going straight through that part of the world. So there we go. Mars is can be described as a malefic energy, violence, anger, these kinds of energies can be an unpredictable kind of energy and can really accentuate danger. So there we go. We've also had the earthquake volcano. Now, this is the part of Russia. This is a peninsula. Now, these particular lines here, this is where the sun and the moon would have appeared over the descendant axis on this part of the world. And the blue line would represent the line where Uranus would have been. And that's, I think, it's either on the midheaven or the IC, but they're all connected to the angles of the chart at the time of the full moon. So there you go. All these energies were over particular points, particular parts of the world at the time of the full moon. And this is what was activated. There's a volcano there. So there we go, triggered. So Uranus in Taurus is about shocks and tremors, because Taurus is the first earth sign. It's all about stability and the actual earth, the rock we stand on, we live on. And Uranus, that's what Uranus does, shakes things up. Pluto is also in Aquarius as well. Pluto is the underbelly of the earth. It's everything that's underneath the surface. So that's also about things being purged out of the earth, things that are coming up. Okay, so volcanoes. If we can look at this a lot deeper, in a deeper spiritual way. Pluto representing the underworld, like everything that we hide or have hidden inside ourselves underneath the surface. Aquarius is an air sign, so it's like it's coming out. It has to come out, it has to breathe, it has to be released into the atmosphere. So this is like a tension, years and buildup of anger, mistreatment, and resentment, all these deep, powerful, negative energies that have been held underneath the surface and held in and for so long, it needs to get out. So here comes the Uranus transit and the full moon in Aquarius, all this air energy, thought energy, and then it's like, okay, it's time to release, it's time to go. So there we go. The earth reacting to the outer energies. Wildfires in Madeira. My friend Zena has been telling me about the wildfires in Zena, and I thought I would put this in as well, because this is the actual Pluto and Aquarius line on the midheaven on the day of the full moon as well. So the wildfires have been going for over a week now in Madeira, out of control. So freak weather conditions again. So the summary, the full moon in Aquarius certainly failed to disappoint. There was no disappointment there in terms of, like I did say in my weekly update, I did speak about the possibilities. So you can go back and look at that if you like. I recorded that before the full moon. We certainly did have the shock. We had the surprise. We had the extreme actions, freak weathers, forced change. Like, how did this affect you? This is how it affected the world and politics and, you know, the shape of the world and the shape of some situations that have occurred now. Like, some things are completely irreversible. Like the families to everyone who was connected to the super yacht sinking. Like the repercussions are that's going to go on for years. So yeah, there's a lot of healing needs to be done after this. So how did it affect you? What actually happened in your life? Like I know some people who have had to leave their own homes recently as well because of all these events that are going on in life. And not through their own faults, but of things that have happened to them. So, you know, feel free to share, you know, if you want to have a chat or whatever, comment. Have you been forced to change anything in your personal life because of this? And anything that's now reversible? Or maybe there's something you're struggling with, something has occurred, you can't understand it. Maybe astrology, I can pull up your chart, compare the energies that are going on, and maybe shine a light on what's actually going on, and maybe give you a direction, an idea, you know, give you some ideas for moving forward, some positivity. So yeah, personal consultations are available. So I just thought I would share this because it was such a powerful and intense full moon. And for so many people, especially if your chart has been affected by this, and I know a lot of you have, like get a new perspective on your own situation. Take yourself out of it. You know, get a view from an astrological perspective, from a different view. See how you can work things out or plan your way going forward. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting, informative, and I wish you all the best going forward. Thank you.